Welcome to You Don't Know Ball. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Today we're going to be getting into our post-Super Bowl mock draft 3.0. We're going to get right into it. Dobbs is going to be odds this time. I'm going to be evens. We're going to switch off every time we do a mock draft. So Dobbs, who are you taking at number 1 overall to the Chicago Bears?
All right. And this one, it's not going to change for me. It's not. Like, if you think you're going to catch me slipping up and doing something crazy all mock season, I'll tell you right now, I can't speak for Hunter. But whenever I get odds, Caleb Williams to the Chicago Bears is locked in.
Okay, so we were just discussing this. I have a strong feeling, just personally, that I don't think the New England Patriots, who are pick 3, are taking a quarterback. I think they're either taking Marvin Harrison Jr. or they're trading down, collecting assets. But as we get closer to the combine, as we get closer to draft season, we're hearing little more bits about maybe the Commanders don't want to take a quarterback. And kind of going into, I don't know if you saw, I'll talk about the Caleb Williams pick a little bit before I get into the Commanders pick. Do you know who Brad Biggs is? He's like,
tell me how. Unfortunately, I don't.
He writes for the Chicago Sun-Times or the Tribune. I believe it's the Sun-Times. But he is like kind of, so like in my opinion, every time there's like a GM in place with the Bears, they kind of have their like go-to reporter to kind of like leak information. Brad Biggs has kind of been that guy for Ryan Poles because I think he trusts Biggs because Biggs doesn't, when Biggs writes about something, like, he's a very conservative writer. Like, he won't make guesses. Like, unless he gets, like, a very, like, confirmed source, he won't put it out there. And yesterday he basically said that they're going to be the question is not if they're going to take a quarterback. The question is, who are they going to take? And that, word for word, the Fields thing has run its course. So, when he was saying, or not him, but I believe he was saying that, like, when they say they want a historic haul, it's less of what will you give us to trade up for number 1 and more of Fields is available. So I think that will put a lot to rest about the Fields, like, you know, what if we trade Fields or what if we keep Fields and what will we do with number 1? I think you can pretty much lock in Caleb Williams to 1 at this point. I think the draft starts at 2.
Okay. See, that's good information, too, because I haven't even seen that.
Yeah, no. So, sorry, off that tangent. Number 2, I am not moved off completely that the fact that the Commanders are going to not take a quarterback. So, I'm going to go Drake May here. I just think I don't think Jaden Daniels goes here. And I think there is also a chance that we were talking about that, like, Daniels may be the 4th quarterback off the board.
No. Yeah.
Certainly. To who?
Wait. He might to. I don't know.
No. I mean, like, who is going to go before Daniels?
Oh, Mr. McCarthy.
Mr. McCarthy. Dane Brugler said it's too early to report anything hard and fact, but he has a good feeling that McCarthy is going to go top 12.
I'm telling you, it really is one of those things where and here's what I would say. It's very similar to when I watched and I was scouting out Jordan Love, where I'm like, there's things I really like about him, and if you give him time, it's not JJ's not the type of guy where if you bring him in right away, it's going to work, and if you just expect him to start, you've gotta give him, in my opinion, at least a year or two. But I think he's the perfect guy where if you bridge him with the right guy, that he could come in and be really successful.
I think so too. I mean, he's really young. He's won at every level, and like, apparently coaches love his mindset. So
I love also just a lot of the throws he can make too, where again, that Michigan offense doesn't do you a lot of favors from a scouting perspective, but like he really can make a lot of different throws. He can do a lot of different things. But moving off of him, because we'll get to him soon. All right, so number 3 with the Patriots. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I could still be fun. I wish I could switch it up. But maybe this is. I don't know if we had this exact matchup last time. But again, with how much of we know, Marvin is just going to be a special prospect. The straight line speed, the glue hands. I'll say this on record. I don't believe he's the best route runner in the draft. I think that's his only weakness, though. Okay. In terms of everything else,
who do you think is Malik?
I think right now I'd say Malik is the best route runner in the draft. But Marvin Harrison is still an elite route runner. He's an amazing player. He is still, in my opinion, the best receiver in the class, even though it is much closer than people think. But But knowing how that he is going to be most likely a generational receiver if he can stay healthy, I think it's going to be hard for the Patriots who've had no receiver success to pass on Marvin, as we've said before. So I'm going to go Marvin. And this is going to be one of those classes where, unfortunately, the mocks don't really get that interesting until like pick 4 or 5 because it is just very top-heavy part of the class is top-heavy.
We're not doing trades this mock, and I think, unless we think of something, this
is more like the biggest need post-Super Bowl.
Yeah, and also my thing is, like, I can very well see the Patriots trading out of 3. Like, that to me is, like, more likely than them staying at 3 and not taking a quarterback.
No, for sure. And it's just more of, like, exactly, I don't know exactly who it's going to be yet. I think that we'll see more trades in our mocks once we start getting more news and kind of and actually feeling out where teams are feeling. But there's still so much in that draft meetings phase and everything right now that it's like they don't even know what direction they're going yet.
At number 4 to the Cardinals, I'm going to go Rome Odunze. And the reason I'm doing this is because typically I will mock Malik Neighbors here, but the more and more mocks I see from kind of connected people in the league is they have Odunze going before Malik. And I think it's just because of the size advantage and like what Rome can do at like a contested catch point. So I think Rome to the Cardinals makes a lot of sense if they're able to kind of keep whatever you think of Greg Dortch, I think he's a solid wide receiver in the room. And I'm not saying he's a wide receiver too by any means, but if they bring back Hollywood Brown, like they've talked positively about him, Kyler likes him, like the receiving core with a Trey McBride is looking a lot better.
No, and I would say to this point also I wanted to include real quick before we move on to the next pick. I think the reason you're seeing a guy like Rome shoot so much in this draft, and again, not that he's not a good prospect. He's a really good prospect. He has a lot of good tape. Whereas some of the questions we might have with him, I think get negated to your point, and where teams are looking at that Jettas tape. Yeah. They're going back and watching Jettas, and they're like, man, this player, they don't have to have all the strengths coming out with the ability to separate all that. Like, it's more about just having a guy that can just go grab it and snag it. And that is definitely...
He was getting Larry Fitzgerald comps.
Yeah, when you go back and watch Jettas tape and you compare it to Rome, you do see a lot of similarities. I know that definitely has a lot of scouting departments really high on Rome, and there's not a doubt about it.
Number 5.
Moving on here, number 5, the Chargers, and I think there's so many different areas you could go with this pick. This is where it gets kind of interesting, and I think again here, you might say, hey, look, the obvious picks, Brock Bowers, go Brock Bowers. You know what? I'm gonna be a little interesting because not only that, I'm thinking the Chargers might be saying to themselves, we missed on the receiver last year, and it's because we went with somebody that was a little bit too reliant on the contested catch. How about we go with the guy that just gets infinite separation and is just great after the catch, which is also a thing Quentin Johnson has, but he didn't have the other trait. You say, we're going foolproof. We give it and then if Quentin comes together next year, too, you have 2 young receivers that are coming together on the rookie deals. I'll say, give me Malik Neighbors right here to the Chargers.
Interesting. That is an interesting spot for him. I am more leaning away from the Brock Bowers pick and more towards the Joe Alt pick at 5.
That would be just a fantastic play.
I know it's like a boring pick and Chargers fans don't want to hear it, but like if you have Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, like on the edges, no one's touching Justin Herbert, and it's not pretty. But with a coach like Jim Harbaugh, it just feels more likely to me now.
No, I'm with you.
And
100%.
Greg Roman being the OC.
No, I'm with
That's
you.
a big thing.
I'm with you on that 1,000%.
At number 6, I'm going to mix this one up a little bit. I am going to have the New York Giants taking Jaden Daniels. And here's why.
Interesting.
You're pretty much locked into Daniel Jones this year. Jaden Daniels, I think there's a lot of things that need to work. And I don't think, while I think, yes, internal support may be there for Jones, if Jones has another down year, I think you've about stretched this thing as far as it can go. And I have been more and more of the belief, and like obviously, like I don't think this is a scenario for the Bears. Possibly it could be for the Commanders that like I kind of want my rookie quarterback to sit for a year. Like I am getting more towards that, and I think Daniels could benefit from learning from whatever you think about Daniel Jones. I think it's more about in this situation specifically because I don't think this applies everywhere. Learning from Dable, Daniel Jones knows how to be a pro. Like, Daniel Jones is a pro. Like, regardless of what you want to say about his play, he is a pro. He acts like a pro. Jane Daniels, not saying he needs to learn that. I'm just saying, like, there's good people in the building to learn from. Dable is a good offensive mind, whatever you think about him as, like, an actual, like, coach and how he interacts with people. I think Daniels could possibly go to the Giants here, who are kind of looking for another answer at quarterback.
I was just saying, if you're Dable, you're definitely looking at Jaden and saying he gives me my best shot to have a Josh Allen type of mold, and that's exactly what I'm sure he's looking for again.
Yeah. So number 7 to the Tennessee Titans.
All right, and I think this, for me personally, I don't think I'm gonna have a harder pick at this whole mock because it's between two guys. You're choosing between the guy who looks like a generational tight end who literally said he wants to come play for you.
Yeah.
But then you're also looking at what I do believe is a generational tackle, which in my opinion is a much more important position on an O-line needy team. And again, I think you got to go with the more important need, regardless of the fact that Brock Purdy wants to play for you. I'm sorry. I think that you got to make Brock a little unhappy, maybe put a chip on his shoulder, but you know what? Got to do what's right for you. And I say Joe Alt is a Tennessee Titan in this mock.
I think that's the right pick. And my thing is, like, at the end of the day, they took Skronsky at, 11 last year?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not afraid to build the trenches. And I think with the positive that you saw from Skronsky, and, like, these are all high floor guys. Like, we keep saying it, but it's like when you go lineman in the first, you want to have that potential to be a top guy. But the more and more I've looked at, like, O-lines, I just want to know my guy will be there. Like, he's a reliable, good player. Like, someone like an Evan Neal, who had such a high ceiling, blah, 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 but then has kind of played like shit. It's just like, well, then you wasted a first-round pick. I think trenches should be more about how high can their floor be? Like, if
absolutely.
he doesn't reach their ceiling, how high can their floor be? Because then you're not missing on one of the most crucial positions on the whole team. And I think the Titans are doing that with the Joe Alt pick here. Now, at number 8 to the Falcons, this truly is difficult because I don't think they're a team that's going to take J.J. McCarthy. Very possible. But my thing is, at the same time, is like, okay, J.J. McCarthy, in my opinion, would fit in a Sean McVay type offense. Zach Robinson is there, who was the passing game coordinator or the offensive coordinator for the Rams. I can't remember. No, passing game coordinator for the Rams. So, yes, quarterback could go here. But at the same time, I just don't feel like he's really their guy. So I'm going to go Jared Verse to the Falcons. They were a team that was interested in him last year when he was possibly going to come out. And I think edge is kind of like one of their most important positions here. So going edge to the Falcons, to me, makes a lot of sense.
No, I agree. And you're just getting we know Jared Verse, just a big, powerful edge. Throw him on there, and you're getting somebody who takes up a lot of space. I think, and for the way they play on that with that D line, Jared Verse would definitely fit into that defense perfectly.
And this is probably the worst case scenario for the Falcons. All the quarterbacks are off the board. Most of the skill players are off the board. They can't take Brock Bowers. They have Kyle Pitts. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was gonna say, yeah, like Jared Verse he fits the scheme and it would work. But I would agree this would be the first pick where you start to say, at least in this mock, I don't know if you're getting the best value but the fact where you have to fill a need and you're kind of in a bad position. Falcons potential trade down, trade up if this were to be.
I think if this is the scenario, you have to trade down.
Right. Like, no, I'm with you on that one. All right, and this leaves you guys coming up here next. And things get interesting here because I got a lot of choice to make. And because this is crazy because I could go a lot of ways. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm seeing one thing and we're going to say this. This mock gives me a chance to give you guys, give Chicago a little potential Mahomes Kelsey 2.0 little thing going on.
Man.
Here. And I'm saying, look, we said it. You need a tight end. I think if you can give Caleb this security blanket, this is a case where I'll say, you know what? The Bears already have enough pieces on the O-line where I think long term you say, and we have Caleb's rookie deal. If we don't love our O-line this year, we'll make a pick at that next year. With a guy like Brock on the board right here, I'm saying, nah. You give Caleb that security blanket right away and give them a chance to start making a connection right now. I'm going Brock Bowers here to the Bears, no doubt about it.
Well, if you bring in a wide receiver 2 in free agency, you have DJ Moore, a strong wide receiver 2. You have Cole Kmet and Brock Bowers, who you could also play in the slot. So it's almost like
the run game just gets electric.
Maybe that Aaron Hernandez, Rob Gronkowski type thing. And it's like if you walk away with Brock Bowers and Caleb Williams, good draft.
That's what I'm saying.
If you walk away with Caleb Williams, Malik Neighbors, great draft. Like, there's so much. Like, if the Bears take Caleb Williams and walk away with another guy at the top of his position, You couldn't have had a better draft, in my opinion.
No, honestly, like this would really be maybe the biggest home run for the Bears.
At number 10 to the Jets, Olu Fashanu is going. There's nothing to even need to be discussed. One of the best pass blockers in the game, and they desperately need a tackle to protect Old Man Rodgers.
Yeah, I was gonna say with Olu, like there are still things that need to be developed. Like there's definitely still, especially in the run game.
Yes,
there's still sometimes where you're like, there's a lot that's got to be developed there.
In the run game, he gets a little too ahead of himself, where he'll like get to that second level, but kind of miss the guy.
I was just gonna say though, to that point, you took the words out of my mouth. Where what you're seeing is stuff where if you're a scout, you say, like I'm fine with that though.
Yeah.
Like
he's also 21.
His motor is high as shit, and he can get to the second level. It's just about making sure that we get to the second level at the right time, at the right pad level. So it's all things that are very, very. You love to see it. It's not like big issues that are unsolvable. Yeah, Olu at 10. If you're a Jets fan, maybe the dream scenario, to be honest.
I would agree. At number 11, we have the Minnesota Vikings, and we're getting into J.J. McCarthy territory. Okay, so before we get into this, before you take your pick, I want to say this. I think if Daniels, May, and Williams are off the board, I don't think the Falcons are a player for J.J. McCarthy. I think, like we were talking about the trade back, this is a prime trade back position for the Falcons to still get their guy and have a team like the Vikings, Broncos, Raiders move up for JJ.
Oh, no, certainly. And you're spot on. But I'll say this. Since it didn't happen, he took the words out of my mouth. You know who I'm going to go with right here?
Who?
I do believe, knowing that the Broncos are very likely going to be targeting him. But like I said, I know Sean Payton, I know he's going to want. I do think that they're going to say to themselves, this is the situation. They're going to say if JJ is the special guy that we think he could be. And on top of that, I think with how it's going to go, if I'm the GM right now for a second, I'm saying, look, we bring Kirk back year or two, tell him, hey, look, we still give you a shot to be our guy. Still could potentially somehow find a way to go all the way. But it's obvious you're getting older, and you know that we can't only bridge you for so long.
Right.
And you're a great guy. Be that guy for JJ. I'm saying we're taking JJ here and we're building around that, and that's exactly where we're going with that for the Vikings.
I like that pick. All right, so that leaves the Broncos in a really awkward spot.
I had to, because the Vikings were already in that spot. They had a choice.
Skill positions are gone. Top offensive line is gone. Quarterbacks are gone. It's kind of like, what do you do here? I think, and I've made this pick before, putting Terrion Arnold next to Pat Surtain is a recipe for success in that secondary. I don't think there's much else to say other than you get a really young athletic corner that you can mold.
And just for position value and for what the Broncos need, I think that fills probably about as smoothly as you could.
Yeah, I agree.
Where you're getting great value without having to trade up, or not trade up, without having to trade down, and it's just that's just a perfect fit.
13 to the Raiders. Apparently to PFF, they have a need everywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, but that's the thing is where the Raiders are in, I'd say, a good spot to be in this pick. Because obviously it's not a good spot to be in,
right.
But for this specific pick, everything's available, and you were getting to the point now where the better position, or not the better position groups, where different position groups are starting to have better talent available, where it was more top heavy at the beginning with receiver, quarterback, tackle. So it's tough though, because really the Raiders are in a very, very funky spot. But with the talent on the board right now, I do think personally, I'm going to say I'm playing it safe. I love Drazan Newton's tape. You know, I've had Drazan Newton going earlier in this before. I still love Drazan's tape. I don't care who's saying he's falling. I'm not falling for that. I think Drazan Newton will probably go right around this area in the draft. And I say right here to the Raiders would be a fantastic fit on that line with Max Crosby.
I think that starts to really make that defensive line scary. And if they're able to grab, because the corner class is deep, if you go grab a corner in the second round, I think you're really starting to cook.
No,
because it's like offense. What do you really need to do? I mean, you can improve the O line, but skill positions, I don't know. You could use a running back maybe in the third or fourth.
That's what I was gonna say. For me, you know me personally, I'm never even reaching until late third. So it's
I think the Saints here. I think it's pretty locked in. They're most likely going to take a tackle. I think that's probably the most important position for them right now. But do you like Fuaga, Mims, or Latham? Because I think Mims is a player to go early. I think he's going to impress at the combine. But I know the league kind of loves Fuaga. This is my issue with Fuaga. I think he is a little bit less of a guarantee than Latham. I think Latham has a higher floor.
Spot on.
And it's with Penning, do you want to risk more of a projected player.
No, you're spot on.
Latham played in the better conference. He's a more patient player. Now, I think Fuaga is better in the run game. Like, Fuaga is definitely better in the run game.
He might be like the best of all the tackles, to be honest.
Yeah, I would say that.
Where him and Alt is also just different. But Alt's also just
Alt is just the best overall.
Yeah, Alt's
tackle.
just in a different class, to be honest.
Olu is the better pass blocker, but Fuaga is the better run blocker. I think that's how it goes. Alt, great. Olu and Fuaga, who are OT 2 and 3, one's better in the run game, one's better in the pass game. It depends what you want. I think Latham would be the smarter pick here.
It also is just very scheme dependent too. It's like if you're running a zone scheme, you want Olu. If you're running a power scheme, you definitely want Fuaga. It's just dependent.
What do the Saints run?
Power. So
probably Fuaga.
So that's why, to be honest, where it's like I'm gonna say this, but with the same thing with Latham though, where Latham would fit that power scheme beautifully as well. So it's like.
I think let's change it up. I've gone Latham to the Saints a couple times. Let's go Fuaga to the Saints.
I love that here too, though. I love, especially because too, we need versatility. If Fuaga didn't work out at tackle, he's unlike
you
Penning.
You can move him to guard.
Unlike Penning, I would kick him to guard and have no problem.
That is very true.
So I think I actually like that more.
Okay.
Because whereas I love Latham, I think I am most comfortable with Latham, but Fuaga gives us versatility.
Yeah, there's a little bit more of like a comfort to Latham, honestly, but Fuaga like. Like I said, in my opinion, he could be very much like a Tevin Jenkins. If it don't work out at tackle, move him into guard, and Tevin Jenkins is an elite guard.
That's exactly how I viewed him. And I think with Tevin, though, it was a little bit different, where when Tevin was coming out, I was already just, if you remember, I was like certain he was a guard.
A lot of people projected him to guard, whereas like Fuaga, a lot of people are like, no, he can play tackle in the league.
And see, with me, there are some snaps at Senior Bowl where I'm not going to lie, it did worry me a little bit, holding, where I'm like, and again, it is what it is. There's still a lot of developing to be done. But if I catch you holding a couple times in short succession, it's gonna make me worry a little bit.
Right.
So it did make me worry. But that's why I'm saying, regardless, one of the snaps I saw at tackle, it's like, but if we're playing him at guard, I don't have any of these same concerns. He is going to push. He is going to be able to make people move at the line of scrimmage. Right. So I love the versatility.
15 to the Indianapolis Colts. What are we doing here?
Ooh-wee.
A lot of prime corners and edges on the board.
Yeah, this one definitely gets very interesting. I think so. Yeah, if you're the Colts, again, maybe not necessarily a ton of needs in terms of, it's kind of like it's more centric on just right. You want to get the right pick here. I think you're saying to yourself, look, we just took Anthony Richardson. He was having injuries. And even though they were more being caused by Anthony Richardson, you can't really say a ton of it was on the O-line. I think if you're the Colts, you're saying, man, we got to protect our franchise guy. Just missed the playoffs. I want to protect our franchise guy. And we were just saying how confident we are in a man named J.C. Latham. I think you can, you know what I mean? I think looking at the Colts O-line situation, you're saying, we can move a few people around. Maybe, you got a few contracts. You release somebody that it's not working out. I'm saying, no matter how you want to slice it, I'm going J.C. Latham right here to the Colts and saying we're going with the guy that we think is going to be a tackle for us long term.
I think that could work. I mean, I think also like you have, who are their tackles? They have Bernard Raymond.
They don't have they don't have bad tackles. That's for sure.
I think they are a little bit stronger on the interior than anything. So I think Latham, even if he doesn't play right away, if you go kind of like more of like a Steelers route, you have like a succession plan for tackle. So
exactly.
I don't think that's a bad pick.
I would say it's kind of this does revolve around making moves outside here, because again, not with Raymond, but with I'm blanking. You just
Smith.
said. With Braden Smith, you're getting a little older, and yeah, exactly. You might be moving for cap reason, however you want to go about that. In my opinion, I just think
Smith is 27, Raymond is 26.
With Latham, this is just in my opinion for value and what the Colts need. This again, I just said I'm going value, and this kind of was the theme of this mock.
I have never seen a tackle mocked here. This is a good. This is an interesting pick. Like I like doing mock. Like I feel like this mock is different from our last mock. Was very different from our first mock. Like we've always done it very different.
That's what I like. I like when the board falls like this, where we can switch it up a little bit.
All right, at number 16 to the Seattle Seahawks.
Got yourself kind of a
it's a weird little situation here. I think we can go.
They're in such a weird spot.
I just think at this position, yes, you could go Jackson Powers Johnson. You could go Graham Barton. But I think Dallas Turner, like, you want to get, like, positional value, and edge rushers are really what the first round is for. Like, in terms of prime positions, like, yes, like, you need to fix that interior. I think your tackles are okay. But it's like, if you're going to go if you're gonna. I wouldn't reach on interior O line if there are good edges available, and I think that's exactly what Dallas Turner is.
Oh, and I was gonna say this one a favorite pick so far this whole mock because I think with Dallas type of guy where like I was saying on our last mock, I've started to turn where early in the process I wasn't as high on him, and now the more I watch him, I'm getting more high, and I love the upside he has. There are certain skills that he has where you see that I worry about how they will translate, like some certain things in the run game and stuff. But to that, what I was gonna say now is, well, you saw how they took Boy Mafe and transformed him, where I had the same concerns where I'm like, yeah, I love the upside, but the downsides of him were concerning. Well, the Seahawks turned Boy Mafe into already one of the better pass rushers in the league, better run defenders. And so it's like if they can take that same Boy Mafe recipe and apply it to our boy over here, Dallas Turner, which I think they'll be able to. I mean, I think this is the perfect spot for Dallas Turner.
Is you have Mike McDonald, who is a defensive head coach, and they already have like a pretty good secondary. So like if you want to improve that secondary, you got to improve the pass rush. And I think that might work out for them.
No, having two young guys off the edge that are just speedy, just potential game wreckers, I think this is the perfect spot for Dallas Turner.
And number 17 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're kind of in a tough spot here.
Yeah, this is another one where you're definitely in a very interesting spot. I think, though, I'll say this. You say to yourself, we already have our franchise quarterback, and we have the coach that we still believe in, even though obviously it's a weird situation right now, right? But I think you say we still believe in the coach, we still believe it. And you say to yourself, we might be losing Josh Allen. And you know what? Trayvon Walker, he's developing, and he looks a lot better than he was at first. You say, man, that first pick, what if we can redeem it with a pass rusher that's supposed to be the best in this class that's fallen a little bit just because.
I like where you're going.
Yeah. I think that you're the Jags. You say we're one of the teams that actually has the ability to take him, and not even if he doesn't work out, we don't all the way regret it because we have the franchise quarterback, we have the coach. I say right here, I'm going Latu, and we're not looking back. We're going to who should be the best edge rusher in the class if they can stay healthy, but that's the big if. But I think the Jags are the premier team where they're going to say, and they're in the AFC where they're like, man, we got to make it shit shake. We need an X factor player. Latu is a guy who, if he stays healthy, is an X factor player.
I think that's a good pick too, and I think it's very interesting because like. I think it is very unknown on where these edges fall in the draft. Like, there's a very real possibility that like one of these guys isn't taken until the 30s. And it's like, that's unlikely, but it's like, I don't think anyone really has a gauge right now on where these guys are going. So it's like, we just saw all three of the top guys go in the first 17 picks. But in reality, if you look at it, like, we had 3 edges go in 9 picks. Like, that's a reality or 9 or 10 picks. Like, that's a reality of like how this draft can fall. So going into 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. They're on the clock. They're kind of in a tough spot here. I like the idea of Amarius Mims here.
I love the idea of it.
The more I look at it, because another pick I was thinking about was Byron Murphy.
That would also just be such a fantastic.
That would be just a disgusting D-line, but I think with the idea of protecting Joe Burrow, Amarius Mims, I don't know, bro. I think you get more of an impact. I think the Bengals want to try to win next year, like really bad. Obviously, they want to win really bad every year. That was a horrible take.
I know what you mean,
but
though.
I think they feel like some pressure's on, especially probably losing T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, or if they franchise tag T. Higgins, he's only back for a year. And I think Byron Murphy is more of the impact player there. So I think I'm going to go Byron Murphy here, even though I think Amarius Mims would work really well for them.
No, I think, again, in terms of playing it safe, though, when you're already a championship contender, that's what you do with these first picks. You say to yourself, again, and let me rephrase what I'm saying. If you're a team like the Jaguars where you still need to make shit shake, that's when you make shit shake. When you're the Bengals and you have very few needs and you know that you're right there pounding the door with everyone else, you go with the guy where you're confident that he's going to be an impact starter on day one. So I have no problem going Byron Murphy right here. It's exactly how we feel about Byron Murphy.
19 to the Los Angeles Rams.
We're getting back into the interesting territory for sure. Back to the interesting territory. But I think, though, I don't know. This one is tough.
The board is interesting here. It's
the
like,
board is falling crazy.
Because like if JJ was here, I would say take JJ. But
1,000%.
I don't know. I want to know the team's Bo Nix to me is just like, I can't get a read on how teams feel about him.
Yeah, again, I see all the upside, and I see a lot. I just completely understand all the traits teams are going to like about him. I think things about his size and just his overall play style, the combination with the size does scare me. Scares me away enough from my initial where I had a mock here on our first mock. I'm not feeling the same way anymore. I think if you're the Rams, you're saying to yourself, though, especially after last year, it's like, hey, look, obviously staff's getting old. But hey, the NFC is not good. Like we're really not that good right now. The Rams still think they got a chance to go all the way. I'm sure if they're looking at it from perspective of in the building. And I think you say to yourself, we got to take our biggest need. We got to really fill with a guy who we think could be a really good pro for a long period of time. And if I'm looking at the board right now, and I'm the Rams, I'm saying I'm going with Jackson Powers Johnson.
Okay, I like that. I was thinking about taking him next. Jackson Powers Johnson is a good pick. I think he's, like you said, like he's one of those guys that can be for the future, but also like an impact starter day one. And I think that's kind of what the Rams need. They need that flexibility of a guy who can be the guy down the road, but also someone who that can come in and start for Matt Stafford and give them the best chance to win.
And even if, let's say, for whatever reason he's not working out at center in the league, I think he'll translate to guard perfectly fine. I see no reason you have to do that. I think he's going to be just fine at center. But no matter where you get him, as a pass protector, as a run blocker, he's coming in and he is arguably the best. He's actually probably the best at both at the interior across the board. So it's like.
So here's my thing. We have 3 fantastic corners on the board here. But I've also heard that the Steelers are absolutely in love with Zach Frazier, the center.
Interesting.
Having 2 centers go back-to-back would kind of be crazy in the first round, and it would be sort of a reach. But I also think I don't necessarily know if Frazier is going to be available the next time the Steelers pick. And I think they really want a center because I don't think DB. They have Joey Porter Jr. They have Minkah Fitzpatrick, who's more of that safety. But if you get another elite corner, your team is really cooking. But if you can't protect the guy that's in front of you, especially with Art Smith there, who wants to run the ball a lot, I'm going to do something that I'm probably going to get some hate for, and that's okay because this is just a mock draft, and this is not the reality. I'm going to go Zach Frazier here.
I love this. I love this.
They're in, from what I've been hearing, they're in love with Zach Frazier. They want a center. If Jackson Powers Johnson isn't there, Zach Frazier has kind of flown up the board a little bit. I've been hearing a lot more talk of him. So the Steelers need a center. Zach Frazier's their guy, which really puts the Dolphins in a bad spot. Well, there's one pick they can go here, in my opinion, but 21 to the Dolphins. Where are you going?
No, this does put the Dolphins in an interesting spot. It definitely does. I think though, what's crazy is this puts me in a position where like I could reach for somebody here where I like them a lot, and I think that they're very undervalued on these boards.
Does he play for Duke?
No, he played for Texas, but I just think it'd be too much of a reach where you would even still potentially have a shot on him in the second round. I do think he's going to go early second though, where.
Can I ask why Miami Dolphins don't have an interior defensive line need here?
Yeah, I don't really.
Considering Christian Wilkins is gone pretty much.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you on that 100%. I don't know. I don't like because I don't want to say the guy who my sleeper is because maybe for another team I'll think about doing it later in the draft. Yeah. So for right now, again, I'm gonna go with what though. What I love is the Amarius Mims project right here to the Dolphins.
Okay.
Where I'm gonna say. Right, it's the Dolphins O-line. However we're going to make it shake and find a way to get Amarius Mims starting on this line, that's what we're going to do.
I think that's a good like projection of like replacing Teron Armstead. You get him for 5 years. If Teron Armstead's gone in 2024, you have someone that can step up. I like that pick. At 22 to the Eagles, honestly, the board could not have fallen better for the Eagles who need a cornerback. You have 3 guys here that are all first-round talents, Cooper DeJean, Nate Wiggins, and Quinyon Mitchell. I think it would either be DeJean or Mitchell. I'm trying to think because Fangio is the DC, right?
Well, I was going to say, and this is something to keep in mind too. Don't let me steer you, but I'm just going to say this from my perspective. my thing is, remember how bad the Eagles' corners were at tackling last year. I think they're going to say to themselves, at least for me personally, they're going to say we want the most physical guy that also put out good tape. That's why I would say for me personally.
Because DeGene is good in the run
Yeah, they
game.
would say I think that's I know.
Yeah, let me go to Gene. I mean, that's honestly where I was leading. That was where I was leading or leaning. I was just trying to think of like, okay, in this Fangio defense, what could work the best?
And
I
the thing
think
is,
because Wiggins is more of like a zone guy. So right?
No, yeah, he is. But you get versatility with him in man also.
Yeah,
but he definitely is at his best.
I think you get the most physical guy on the board, which is Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, I was 100%. Especially to your point of that Fangio system, like you need a guy that can come down and play in the box when he needs to. Like, yeah, no, get Cooper DeJean over there in an Eagles uniform. I think that would be the premier spot for him, which is crazy.
At 23 to the Texans.
All right, we start to get fun over here now because the Texans are one of those teams where again, it's more of a house money situation now, right? Like you kind of just you get a lot of options here. Man, it's crazy. What do you do?
According to one of our subscribers, they need interior D line. That's what they need. Thank you for commenting, by the way, on every video. We really appreciate it. That's not like a dig or anything.
No,
we really do appreciate you guys leaving comments on these continually, letting us know what your team needs.
No, they definitely do. And to your point, I'll tell you this. How about this? With Grenard being a free agent.
Let me ask you this, because she posed this question in the comments. Do you think T'Vondre Sweat is a first-round talent?
I can't say for sure yet. Honestly, I haven't gotten to him enough yet. Where I wouldn't even be comfortable saying.
Okay.
But if I'm gonna always give an honest answer. That's just my fair honest answer.
And that's fair. I just think, like, in my opinion, it's not that he's not a first-round talent. I just think that there's so much talent on the board in the first round that he may fall to the second round.
No,
but I don't think he falls to the third. I think he's strictly a second-round guy.
No, if what I've already known and seen, I would think that as of right now, though, it's a very fair take. And I'll tell you this. Here's a guy I'm higher on. And so, you're saying about how one of the subscribers was leaving a comment how they need interior. I think, how about this too? She might agree because we're saying Grenard might be leaving. You might need edge help too. How about my opinion, the guy where you can play him interior or exterior?
She's not gonna like that one. Oh wait, no, she would like.
He's one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite players. Oh, if she knows anything about him, this is one of my favorite players in the whole class. He's gonna keep rising. He's getting comps where it was kind of elusive, like
MIZ.
People are comparing
COU.
People are comparing him to players that you won't believe who. I think who it is that he's getting compared to, at least my personal opinion, I think he's getting a few clowny comps. Seems saying to themselves, yeah, we get a guy, we can kind of just play him wherever. He's going to be a fantastic run defender. There's still growth in the pass rushing game, but he's just a force on the line no matter where you play him. Yeah, give me Darius Robinson out of Mizzou right here. I think he will fit perfectly on this Texans team. Wherever you play him, I think, again, it's really just a matter of, like, finding a role for him.
He's classified as an edge, but he is one of those guys that is a tweener. So because of his body type, he can play on the interior, but he can also play on the edge. So hopefully,
I believe 6'5", 290, which is just an insane
let's
frame.
See. He is. Hold on, let me look it up. Darius Robinson. He is
Senior Bowl
6'5", 295.
And also the National Player of the Week at the Senior Bowl, which is if you don't know about the Senior Bowl, you're living under a rock. I'm sorry, but it is a huge accomplishment, and usually that bodes very well every year forever. Like this, it just bodes well for translation.
So Sarah, let us know if that pick works for you. Thank you so much for leaving comments on all the videos. All right, at number 24 we have the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, so honestly, I think I'm going to go corner here possibly, just because when I look at it, it's like they have Diggs, they have Deron Bland, but Gilmore is kind of that. He's getting a little bit older, and he's a free agent.
And I don't know if you're going to bring him back for the Cowboys.
No, and I just, in my opinion, I'm not going to take a running back first. The top centers are off the board.
I think I know who you're going right here,
I don't know if I don't want to go linebacker. It's just like tough. Like, I think, because did they hire a defensive coordinator yet?
Double check for you.
Yeah, because honestly,
it's been hard to keep up with all the news going on because everything that's been happening. It's like when it's Super Bowl week, it's just hard to keep up. Yeah, no. So Rex Ryan, I do crazy enough. He's somebody who I know that they're talking to Rex Ryan right now. Or wait a minute, hold on, no, because I remember. if I was because I know it's between because didn't they say where Mike Zimmer also?
Oh yeah, I
so
remember.
Mike Zimmer is. Yes, Mike Zimmer got the job. Where it was between Rex Ryan and Mike Zimmer, and then so Mike Zimmer
is the DC now.
Yes, Mike Zimmer.
So I can't remember. Was Mike Zimmer?
But then there's this going on where it's like Rex Ryan disputes ESPN report that Cowboys will hire Mike Zimmer. Source reveals Cowboys hold up in hiring of Mike Zimmer. Is Rex Ryan in the waiting?
Oh, so
it was broken news, but it wasn't correct.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because I am a little bit out of the game here, and I don't want to make the wrong pick. I have a way I'm leaning, but is Mike Zimmer more of a zone guy or a man guy?
No, Mike Zimmer is more of it's a zone where he mixes in the zone blitzes and Mike. And
so if you want to
see no man, but it's definitely more zone.
If you want a corner that's more zone, I would go Wiggins. But if you want a corner, in my opinion, who is more similar to the guys they have now, you want to go Quinyon Mitchell. So I think I'm going to go Quinyon Mitchell to the Dallas Cowboys.
I was going to say, I think personally, and I just think for upside purposes, and we're with Wiggins, I'm just a little shakier. I think
Wiggins is the guy that kind of falls in these corners.
You have better conference and you get better matchups where you can say with Wiggins tape, you're like, I'm seeing him against more pro-ready guys. That's what makes it tough.
Yeah.
But I do think what I see from Quinyon, I think I'm with you. That's why I thought you were going to go right.
Yeah. I was leaning Quinyon, but I wanted to make sure who the DC was. But at this point, I just think Quinyon Mitchell is like more similar to a Diggs, Deron Bland type of player. So at 25 to the Packers, where are we going? This might be the spot for him.
This is an interesting one right again. This right here, this class is just I love this class so much. There's just so much you could do with this class. Yeah, where do the Packers go? Oh man.
I just think I think the Packers are in a weird spot, not because like they're bad or anything like that. I think it's just more like of the essence of there isn't like glaring holes in their team. You know, they can improve pretty much. They can improve in a lot of spots, but they're not like, oh no, this is do or die. You know?
Yeah, no. I think what I am comfortable doing right here though is I'm going to say we are going to take Troy Fautanu because as we know the tackle situation with Bakhtiari and everything, we know how to feel.
Okay.
I think Troy Fautanu is the one I'm most confident in of the tackles off on the board here. As of right now, I still got a lot of tape to crunch with these tackles. We're still very early on in the draft process. My opinion could change a lot. As of right now, though, Troy Fautanu is the one I'm most comfortable with, and I think you want to protect Jordan Love. So that's where we're going to go right here.
With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 26, I'm taking Nate Wiggins off the board. I think that makes a lot of sense with the way Todd Bowles runs his defense. Yeah. And, their corners are getting a little bit older. You could argue wide receiver there if Mike Evans walks, but Nate Wiggins, I think, is the easiest selection at that spot.
I think that's the best value at that slot.
Oh, yeah. Very well.
And I think, if you're looking at it from a draft board perspective and that's how they're going to do it, I think that there's no way if this board is falling this way.
You could argue Clay McKinstry, but I think Wiggins is a little bit more of a fit for.
No, he fits very well on that Bucs team.
27 to the Cardinals.
Back to just another very interesting pick, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's now.
You know what though? No, I don't think I'm gonna overthink it. I think again from a draft board perspective, if you're the Cardinals, you say to yourself, Kool-Aid McKinstry still on the board.
Not a bad pick.
I'm gonna go. We're gonna go draft board. And we're gonna say we got a really physical, high pedigree corner, and for that reason alone, I'm gonna say we're just gonna lock that in.
I think another interesting pick would have been Troy Franklin and paired up with Rome Odunze. And if they bring back Hollywood Brown, then you're really cooking with that offense.
It was just going one Allen Wiggs and one basket.
Oh no! I agree. I agree with you. I think that's the more logical pick. I just think double dipping on receiver in the first round would be very, very interesting.
It definitely would be interesting if to that point also if they want to. But they could want to go Brian Thomas and say, let me give Kyler a big possession guy. That would also be crazy.
They could also get one of these receivers at the start of the second round.
That's exactly
another way. So at 28 to the Buffalo Bills, give me Brian Thomas.
I was gonna say, don't pass this one up.
I just want the big body receiver for Josh Allen. There's really not much to it.
Give me who Gabe Davis should have been.
Yes.
Give Josh Allen who Gabe Davis actually should be.
I think Gabe Davis is gone in free agency too. So at 29 to the Lions.
Man, what an important pick for the Lions here.
Oh, I know who I would go here.
Okay, just give me a second to think because I think we could end up picking the same guy here. But I got to think for a second before before I splurge on who I'm going to go with, because this is definitely one too where I think you'll see where the Lions will going to take a guy where a lot of people will be like, why would they go that way? But again, when you're the Lions, you really got to get this right, and you really have got to go with a guy that's going to fill a need.
Let me say this. I honestly think this is our best mock draft so far.
Oh, no. We're
like, definitely.
The more tape that we can crunch, the more that we come in, the more tape we can crunch every week, it just helps, because they get better the more time that we get, because then it just gives us more time to actually like get familiar with the prospects. It is just so tough, because there really is not necessarily a best route to go with this. There's really not at all.
I know who I would take in this situation. I think the struggle with the Lions is the interior of their O-line.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, this is going to be one where, again, they're going to reach a little bit. I think, though, you're going to say, we're going to take Christian Haynes. Again, I haven't gotten to tons of the tape yet, but I do like what I see so far. And on top of it, you say, look, it's a need-first team. We need interior. I'm going to go Christian Haynes right here, and I'm not looking back. I have no problem with it. Because, like I said, this is going to be, I think no matter who they go with here, it's going to be where you say to yourself, a lot of people are going to scratch their heads and be like, who's that? Or type shit like, what? But I think that I wouldn't even be surprised. Christian Haynes here really would not surprise me that much, especially if the board falls the way it does, which it should. I mean, Christian Haynes should be available here.
I would have probably went Graham Barton if I was selecting for the Lions, just because he is a tackle, but I think they're projecting him inside a little bit more from Duke. And I think that, so I've seen Graham Barton higher on mocks because they're saying because of his versatility, and he's like, he may not have the highest ceiling, but like he's like a more sure pick. I haven't watched Christian Haynes. I'm not going to sit here and lie, so I don't know. Like, but I think the main thing with Graham Barton is that they're like, oh, he's the safe pick. You know what I'm saying?
No, right.
So,
no, and honestly, for the Lions though, there's nothing wrong with going safe either. That probably would be the play. So
yeah. Anything interior though, like that's not. You know what I'm saying? Like anything interior is the way to go.
No, I do think too is as I get to more of the O line, that pick will. But there's very likely that'll change as we get further down.
I mean, who knows? Like, Barton may fall and one of these guards may go. I mean, when going into these mock drafts and everything, like
Haynes could just keep rising. I mean, it's just
Haynes could keep rising, and I think the mock drafts are so based on like positional value that like these ADPs may not be true into actually how they project to real NFL players.
No, you're spot on.
So at number 30, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Bro, I keep going Troy Franklin here. Like
it's just the obvious pick right now.
It's the easiest pick, but I don't know.
There's definitely a couple of
I kind of like Ladd McConkey here too.
Oh, I love Ladd McConkey right here.
I think or you know what? I'm gonna reach a little bit. Give me Keon Coleman to the Ravens.
Okay, see, that's
I want a big
fun.
Body guy.
That's just fun. No, I love that.
I want a big
fun.
body guy.
You talk about a guy who's going to be able to lay his body on the line.
He's
and
such
block.
bro. Just picturing Keon Coleman in a Ravens uniform, like bro, it just works.
You can picture him throwing a pancake for Lamar.
Yeah,
and going and mossing somebody. Like it works out perfectly.
At number 31 to the 49ers.
Ooh-wee. I think though, honestly, at least the way the board is falling right now, I actually don't have to think about this that much. To me, it's obvious. Again, if the way the board is falling right now, I'm going Jordan Morgan because you're saying Trent Williams is getting old, and we need a guy that's a big body that has good pedigree that can move well. I think I'm going to say I'm going Jordan Morgan. As more of anything, it's probably going to sit for a year, especially if that
Trent Williams
comes back. But
that just makes
too much sense. If Trent doesn't come back,
yeah.
then he's your starter, and you have. I mean, this is a decision that you got to make.
It just makes too much sense. At 32, I think the pick is pretty easy. It's between Troy Franklin or Ladd McConkey. I'm going to go Troy Franklin. I think he has a little bit more upside.
See, I think for the way the Chiefs play, I think that because they already Ladd McConkey is to me personally, I would go Ladd McConkey, but at the same time, to your point, if Troy ends up developing the way that he can develop and he hits his upside. It's like you're getting not a Tyreek Jr. because nobody's going to be Tyreek,
right.
But you're getting like that element back where the Chiefs already do have enough guys that are similar enough to Ladd without being Ladd.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you give yourself that versatility. I love it.
So this has been the You Don't Know Ball mock draft 3.0. Honestly, this is my favorite mock draft that we've done.
This is the one so far.
I think we reached a little, obviously, on some players, but I think it threw the board off in a way where it forced us to kind of go differently with other picks.
Give me your personal favorite one from this mock, because I know what mine is.
My favorite pick is probably, let me see. I really like Quinyon Mitchell to the Cowboys. I like Keon Coleman to the Ravens, and I like Frazier to the Steelers.
See, I know I those are all great ones too. I love those. Also, since you gave 3, I'll give 3 of my favorite ones. I'll say for me, my 3 favorites is Latu to the Jags. Go Darius Robinson to the Texans is my
That's a
favorite.
good one,
That's
yeah.
probably, that was definitely my favorite. And then my other one that you had here is Brian Thomas Jr. to the Bills. That's definitely my third favorite.
Well, this has been You Don't Know Ball. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, let us know your favorite pick, your least favorite pick. We really appreciate you guys watching. We just hit 1,500 subscribers. We're continually growing. It is officially mock draft off season.
Let's go!
So we're going to keep bringing you guys content. Like I said, thank you guys so much. We hope you have a great rest of your day.